Hey, welcome back to Building an App in 14 Days. I'm Connor, an iOS developer, and in this video series, I'm walking through building an iOS app with AI in just 14 days. Today is day 6, where we are focusing on building the third feature of our app. Our app that we are building is called Whisper. It's an AI-powered journal where we focus on a voice-first mental health journaling, where you can record a journal entry in just 30 seconds, and then we use AI to analyze that entry and help you track your mood for improved mental health and helping people create the journaling habit. Yesterday, we built most of the smart mood tracking feature, where once you record an entry, we're using Apple's foundation model framework to analyze the transcript and suggest moods based on your entry to help you track your mood over time. Today, we are building the rest of that feature and the streak and motivation feature. So let's get into it. This is the app here, Whisper. This is the first feature that we built, the actual journal entry feature where you can record a journal entry with your voice. It's going to listen to what I say and have a little voice animation. And then when I stop, it's going to transcribe this for us. This is the mood detecting feature here that is not fully complete, and you can play back the recording, save the entry. Yesterday, we also built the calendar. So this is an overview of all the moods and journal entries from days in the past. You can go back and look at those. And then today we're focusing on building out the stats screen. So this is going to be your streak, your journal entries, just a way to build user retention and keep helping people actually build the journaling habit. So where we left off yesterday was about halfway through our foundation models feature. This was tricky because AI is not currently trained on the Apple foundation model framework. The foundation model framework is Apple's on-device, Apple intelligence models that you can use in your app. The reason they're great is because they're offline, they're on your device, and they're fully private. And they don't cost anything. So we don't have to make an API call. We don't have to have internet connection for them to work. And they're really good for things like summarization. So we had to do some workarounds, and Codex spent like 30 minutes searching through the actual code of the foundation models to try and learn how it works. And then it tried to code it, and it got most of the way there. But as you saw when we tried to record a voice recording, it didn't quite finish completing the analysis. And then we also ran out of usage from Codex yesterday. So today we're going to finish building that feature with a little bit of a new strategy, and then we're going to finish building out the streaks. So the strategy that I was thinking about doing for finishing this is going to Perplexity and asking it to do a bunch of deep research to learn how to use a foundation models framework, and then write me a document of instructions for Codex. So Codex could just reference that document instead of having to do a bunch of extra research inside of Xcode in order to understand the foundation models framework. Because I also think it got a little bit confused on the implementation, because when it was reading the code of the foundation models framework, I think it didn't quite understand the implementation that we were after. So that's what we're going to do now, is conduct research on foundation models inside Perplexity with deep research, create a document of instruction for an AI tool, and then we're going to give that to Codex to finish out building our feature. So the prompt we're going to use for this is this one. It says, I want you to research Apple's foundation models framework in depth, learn all there is to know about using it in an iOS 26 app. Then create a highly detailed document on how to use it as a set of instructions for AI to reference. Explain iOS 26 in context, as the AI tool I will be using is not trained in iOS 26 yet. So we need to explain that it comes after iOS 18 and is our minimum deployment target. So I'm going to send it off to do research. And once it learns about Apple's foundation model framework, then I'm going to give that set of instructions over to Codex so it has all the context it needs to finish building out our inference feature. So now that Perplexity has finished our research on iOS 26 and the foundation models, we can go ahead and take the document it created and give it over to Codex. Give me just a quick summary of everything that it learned and is included in the document, such as the core components, the advanced features, practical implementation, system requirements, and some key technical details. So this is the document, and you can even see there's some code examples here, context about everything that's going on. So I'm just going to copy all of this and then take this over to Codex. This is OpenAI's coding assistant. It's just inside terminal. It's what we're using for building our Whisper app. So I'm going to paste that in. Say use this reference of the foundation models framework. So this prompt is just the context of the foundation models framework. And I said use this as a reference to review, improve, and finish the implementation of the mood analysis feature of our app. As a reminder, here's the feature details. So I just pasted the prompt that ChatGPT gave us yesterday for the implementation of this feature to give to Codex so that it had full context of everything it needs to do. And then it's going to go ahead and review this, implement it, and then we'll see how it does once it's finished. I compacted the context of our last chat when we ran out of usage. So I just did the compact command. And what that does is summarizes basically the entirety of the last chat. So in a way that we can continue on without losing too much context, but freeing up our context window. I'm not honestly exactly sure how it works, but that's what I did before starting this chat, so that we had a full context window before moving into a set of new instructions and a set of new commands for this feature, so we make sure we get it so the results are more accurate. So now that it's done working on the foundation models integration, it rebuilt the on-device analysis service with the improved instructions. So let's see if this runs. Did fail. So we are going to, let's see, I'm just curious about the errors, but we're basically going to take this and have it fix these errors for us. Control V. Ask me questions if you need help. I've never said that exact way before, but because we're working with something that it's not trained on, it might be confused about some things. Like for example, it said that the large language model session doesn't have a generate on it. And so it's something similar to that. That was like session respond, I think, is what it really needs. But I'm not going to interfere with that. I'm just going to have it fixed. And if it can't fix it, we'll do that part manually. So it fixed those errors, and it looks like it just missed some things on updating its integration of the foundation models framework from yesterday. So now let's see if this is going to work for us. Today was a really good day. I feel really happy, and this is my favorite journal entry ever. Okay, so it tried, but it didn't quite get that, or at least it's not selecting it. Add instance for factory. Okay, so it's getting something, but it's not like actually selecting. So let me ask Codex why this is the case. I'm just going to ask it about the situation. Once I'm done recording a journal entry, I see it gets transcribed, and I see the loader for the interpretation of that, but no mood is selected afterwards. Can you explain why that is the case? Is the response not being generated or not setting a selection? So let's see what the case is here and why this isn't quite working for us. See if we can get to the bottom of it. So here's one interesting thing, right? With the transcribing that we're doing, it messed up on injury and it was supposed to be entry. But anyways, the Apple framework for transcription may not be the best option overall. There's probably way more accurate ones. I know OpenAI's Whisper is really good. I think 11 Labs has stuff like this. But the key for this app is to keep it offline and private and simple. And so we're not using these complex, or not really complex, but more expensive APIs or anything like that. We want to be able to use this app offline. And so I think it's worth us a little bit of inaccuracy to achieve that, given that's our goal. And so its response says, the loader you're seeing is the foundation model's request running. When it finishes, we drop a result straight into suggested moods, but we never mutate selected mood. The view model only changes selected mood when the user taps a selected mood. That's intentional, so the user is always the one to choose the final mood. If the model's confidence falls below our 0.3 credibility threshold, we clear the list entirely, so you might also see the loader disappearing with no highlighted chips when Apple's response is too weak. Both cases leave selected mood as nil, which is why the save entry button always stays disabled until you tap the mood yourself. If you prefer a default choice, we can either lower the threshold so at least one suggestion always survives, or auto select the highest confidence mood when the service returns something. We should come up with a way to give the user some feedback here. So this doesn't seem like it fails. Give me 10 ideas for this. I like to explore the options with Codex to see what it comes up with, because it's like I could probably think of a few things on how I want to handle this, but they might not be the best. And so I want to have a list of options that we can explore. So then we can just make a decision without having to use too much brain power here. And here are the things it's suggesting. Reading through these, I didn't love any of them. And so I said, instead of having a confidence threshold, let's do something that lets the user know it seems like you are feeling happy. As an example, they will be able to change the selection if this is incorrect, but something should always be selected if we get a successful response. Because the point of this feature is to make journaling easier, right? And we want to take the heavy lifting out of journaling and things like that. Because maybe if you are feeling stressed or anxious, you don't want to write that down yourself, maybe. The point is we can just speak our thoughts into the app, and it will kind of do a lot of the work for us. Give it our journal entry and then let it handle the work. And then we can see our mood, if it's improving over time or not. For example, if you're trying to do like a gratitude type journal, say things that you would be grateful for, and then hopefully your mood is improving over time because of that. It's kind of the purpose of doing something like that. And so we want some user feedback here. We want to make use of our foundation models integration. Not selecting anything and not giving any feedback is not really helpful to the user. And it's just kind of a waste of code at that point. So let's see how it integrates this aspect of it, and then we'll decide if we like it or not. Okay, so now that it's done doing that, it gives us a little preview of what changes it made. And let's just run and see how this looks. Okay, so let's record a new entry. This is a journal entry about the best day ever that I had today working on this really cool app. So I stop, we transcribe. It's finding our mood. A still selection was not made. So we need to figure out why that is. So I'm going to check here if there's any obvious errors. Nothing that I can see directly related to the foundation models. And so I need to ask what is going on. So I spent a little bit of time just trying different journal entries, and I can't seem to get it to do what we want. So I just said we should try and generate a response once the user is done typing or the voice memo has been fully transcribed. It was trying to do it as I was typing every time, and that's not really what we want. And I said, I still don't see any real feedback from the foundation model. So let's add debugging statements. So what that's going to do is add stuff that prints out down here for us so that we can see where this might be failing. Codex is not really understanding why this isn't working. So this is now finished, and it should hopefully help us figure out why the analysis is not working. Let's go here. I want to type the entry, say, today I feel really happy. I won $1 million and am going to buy myself the coolest car ever. Okay, let's see. The on-device took too long to respond, so it's timing out, which is interesting. I'm going to give this information to Codex because this is the statements that it gave for us. So I'm going to say it looks like this is the issue. Let's find a solution for this. So it's going to find a solution for that. So what this did was give us more information about what our code is doing as it's running, and then we can use this to give Codex more information about where this is failing and why we're seeing what we're seeing. And so now it's going to go and look through and try and find a solution to fix this. And then hopefully we'll be able to get this working. Okay, so now that it's done debugging and we are at 75% of our limit, hopefully we can still get to our stats feature today. And this works. So let's see if this works for us. We've already got an error because we're running out of 1 and 3. So max tokens, I'm just going to remove those to fix that and run this. It's basically trying to control the prompt in ways that we really don't need to. So let's see if this works. It's finding a suggestion. Okay. It keeps timing out, and I really don't like that. I don't know why we are timing this out with timeout. Okay. I am just going to remove the timeout because I think that is super unnecessary for this. So basically why it's failing is it's taking too long to respond, which is not an issue of the foundation models framework. It's just a manual limitation that Codex added for some reason, and we just don't need that. So today I feel happy. Perfect. So now we have feedback. What if I feel happy and sad? Okay, so it's gonna go with the first one. And I imagine this works a lot better when we have a lot longer journal entry, but it's good to know that works. So now we've successfully got our foundation models feature working, which is a little bit of manual interference. Like I said, it was just basically saying if it takes more than like 2.5 seconds, we should just stop trying to generate a response and using that, which is really not ideal. Like that's one thing about the foundation models framework is that the speed of it will depend on the device, and we're on a simulator here and things like that. but we're just not going to worry about that for now. So we know that that is now working. So we're going to go over to ChatGPT. I want you to write a detailed prompt for the third feature of this app, the streak screen. So I'm going to send that. We can go to Codex and compact. Actually, yeah, I'll compact this. And so it's going to design the streak screen for us and that whole feature, and then we'll implement it. So we've got a prompt here for our streak screen. Well, at least it's almost done. So we're just going to take this right over to Codex and have it build. This is the next feature I want you to build. Paste that in. We'll let it get to work. And then once it's done, we should have a stat screen fully built out for us. And that will be the bulk of our app. So before it starts, it's going to ask a few clarifying questions. Where should the upgrade call to action route open the existing paywall, full screen, or overlay, or just a call it with a shared navigation helper? We want the paywall to be a full screen overlay. 2, do we already expose streak metrics and plan stats via app settings, or should the streak view model compute them from Swift data? I'm not sure. I'm not sure how the app or Codex did this earlier, so I'm going to let it figure that out. And then for the milestone celebration, should the halo animation trigger only when the value actually crosses a milestone while the screen is visible, or if every time the screen loads at a milestone value? The second one, I'm just kind of guessing here. And then, are there reasonable components in the design system I should adopt? You should look and see. Prioritize reusable ones. And then 5, should analytic events be fired through an existing tracking service, or simply stuck with something like print? See what is done else. We're not worried about analytics right now, but in a lot of the prompts, ChatGPT has just suggested analytics integration, which will be nice if we want to add that later. Analytics are really great for tracking user behavior in the app, but in order to add them, you need a third-party service. And then you also need to let the user know you are tracking data inside the app. So you have to ask permission for that. And then you have to configure certain things inside of App Store Connect. This part of your app's privacy policy, that data is collected by your app. And that's not a bad thing. You know, it's very common in apps, and it's good to know where users are falling off. What reasons are they going and visiting your paywall? Why are they unsubscribing for your app? What behaviors in the app are they, or what features are they using the most? And kind of being able to study the user behavior based on data so that you know where to improve your app. Maybe you built the feature and it's not being discovered by any of your active users, and analytics can help you figure that out. And so if you ship a new feature and no one uses it for like 2 or 3 weeks, then you're like, well, that's kind of weird. Maybe nobody can find it. So then you want to talk to users based on that data and figure out what's going on. And that's where analytics can be really helpful. Codex has just finished working on our stats feature. I just ran the app. Let's check it out for the first time. This is how our streak feature is looking. So we've got a 3-day streak, 3 days journal, best streak. The only thing I would say is we need to tighten this up so we don't have to scroll to see this. Otherwise, it looks fine, but this is a tidy up thing for later. So now we have 3 fully functioning features that we've built entirely with AI. We've got our journal feature. We've already got a placeholder of a paywall. Then we've got a calendar feature to see past journal entries and our moods. And then we've got stats. So we've got 3 streaks, and that's pretty much it. So now that we've got 3 fully functioning features, this is really awesome. So there's a lot more that could be added here, right? But we are trying to keep the app simple. We could do notifications for the streaks. We could add stats based on how many moods, how many times you felt happy over the past however many days. We can delete entries, you know, all these other features that could be added. But we're trying to stay focused on just a few core things. We want to get this just working, right? This is an app that you can use every day now. And that's really exciting. We've done it in only 6 days. So tomorrow we're going to be focusing on the onboarding. So that's going to be when the user first downloads the app, they are going to be onboarded. And this is where you really sell the user on the app. You want to show them the first kind of wow, or cool moment of the app. You want to leave them with a good impression, explain what the app is really, really quickly. Then you'll show your paywall and just say, hey, here's all the value you can get out of this app if you pay us a little bit of money, or you can use it for free, because we're going to do a freemium model for this app. So that is the MVP for our app, Whisper. I think the UI looks really great. We've got some really nice to have features in here. This calendar by hand would have taken me forever to do. And we've even got some AI in the app using the foundation models feature. We had to do some workarounds in order to get AI to build that successfully, given that it's a new framework. So we're going to call it here for today. And tomorrow, like I said, we're going to be diving into onboarding. So if you want the more detailed breakdown and workflows of building iOS apps with AI, check out my community App Launch Club, where I help anyone that wants to build a native iOS app use AI to go from idea to app in just 14 days following this exact roadmap. And you can start on your way to being a full-time indie developer. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.